Hello, my resilient companions, and welcome back to Stoic Habits. Have you ever made the bold choice to walk away from a relationship or situation only to see your absence shake the very core of someone else's world? It's an intense and disorienting experience, like stepping off the stage and watching the remaining actors struggle without their lead. When you choose to put your peace and growth first, it often sparks a deep realization in those left behind. Suddenly, the person who once took you for granted is haunted by your absence, wrestling with the magnitude of their loss. This stark reversal reveals a harsh truth about human connections. Sometimes our silence speaks volumes more than our presence ever could. This emotional shift is like a dramatic change in a performance, where stepping back not only alters the choreography, but transforms the entire show's intensity. Why does our absence leave a deeper impact than our constant presence? In today's episode, we'll delve into the psychological shifts that occur when you remove yourself from someone's life, how it forces them to confront your true value, and why it often reignites a sense of appreciation that was missing before. The words of the Stoic Seneca resonate with our theme today. Sometimes, simply choosing to live is an act of courage. Walking away isn't merely a physical departure, it's a bold statement of self-respect, a recognition of your intrinsic value. This decision has the power to reshape the emotional landscape for both you and those around you, igniting a newfound respect and desire that may have gone unnoticed before. Join me as we delve into how walking away can redefine not only how others perceive you, but also how you perceive yourself. This choice strengthens your independence and draws others toward the strength you've uncovered within yourself. Together, we'll explore the magnetic, transformative power of prioritizing yourself. As we dive in, I have a challenge to set the tone for what's to come. If you're ready to embrace your power and let your silence speak louder than words, drop a comment below with the phrase, "Your absence speaks louder." This isn't just a statement. It's a powerful declaration of your strength, your resolve, and your commitment to becoming unforgettable. It's time to show the world and yourself that you're not merely stepping back. You're stepping up in a way that will make your absence felt like never before. Let's see how far this impact can reach. Many of you are ready to embrace this transformative shift, making your presence felt even in your absence. Before we dive in, let's consider a familiar scenario that many of us encounter but often find difficult to navigate. Imagine this. You've been in a relationship or friendship where all the effort seems to come from you. You're the one always making plans, reaching out, and keeping the connection alive, despite your best efforts. The appreciation and reciprocation just aren't there. Feels like you're dancing solo in what's supposed to be a duet. Then, you reach a point where you decide it's time to stop. You make the courageous choice to walk away, focus on your own growth, peace, well-being. But here's where things get interesting. After you step back and break the cycle, the dynamics begin to shift. The person who once took your presence for granted starts to notice the emptiness your absence leaves behind. They begin to reflect on what they've lost. So why does this shift happen? Why does walking away alter the way people perceive and value us? This sudden change can be understood through a basic principle of human psychology called loss aversion. Simply put, we are wired to fear losing something more than we value gaining something new. The moment you step away, you're not just removing yourself from the situation, you're triggering their fear of loss, which often carries more weight than the joy your presence once brought. This shift isn't merely about them recognizing your value, it's about you rediscovering and reaffirming your own worth. By choosing to prioritize your well-being and stepping back, send a powerful message to yourself and others. Your happiness and self-worth do not depend on anyone else's approval or presence. You hold the keys to your own value. Let's take a moment to reflect. Think about a time when you faced a similar decision. What was the situation? How did you feel before you chose to walk away, and what changed after? Share your story in the comments below. Engaging with these personal experiences not only helps us reflect, but also strengthens our community as we learn from each other's journeys. This reflection is essential because it underscores a fundamental Stoic principle. Your worth is self-determined, not defined by others. The significance of focusing on what we can control is a lesson deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, as Marcus Aurelius reminded us to be indifferent to what doesn't truly matter. By choosing to walk away, you're deciding to no longer let external forces govern your peace, content. As we move forward, keep these thoughts in mind. Reflect on your own experiences with the art of walking away and reclaiming your power. Let's delve deeper into how these actions can reshape our lives, relationships, and even our perceptions of self-worth, independence. First, let's talk about understanding the initial shock. This reaction is more than just about your absence. It's about the ripple effects that absence creates in the emotional and psychological landscape of the person you've distanced yourself. Picture this. One day you're a constant presence in their life, an everyday character in their story. And then, all of a sudden, you're gone. It's like a pivotal scene in a movie being abruptly cut, leaving the audience, and in this case, the person you've stepped away from, stunned by the unexpected turn in the story. The initial shock can be compared to a magician yanking a tablecloth from under a fully set table, with everything momentarily hanging in the air before crashing down. Why does this shock hit so deeply? It's because we, as humans, are creatures of habit, thriving on consistency and predictability. When someone who plays a significant role in our daily lives suddenly exits, it disrupts our emotional balance. As Seneca wisely noted, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. This Stoic insight reminds us that endings aren't merely losses, they're transitions. Though this understanding might not immediately sink in during the initial shock. This stage of shock is crucial, because it's often the first time individuals are confronted with their dependence on external validation. They are forced to face themselves, perhaps realizing for the first time how much of their self-worth was tied to another's presence. To add a touch of humor to this serious reflection, imagine it like this. It's as if someone pulled the rug out from under their feet, and now they're left awkwardly stumbling, trying to regain their footing in a world suddenly devoid of the stability they took for granted. It's like suddenly realizing you've been performing a duet when you thought you were rocking a solo. As they navigate this emotional upheaval, the Stoics offer a timeless lesson in resilience. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This powerful reminder encourages those left behind to take control of their reactions, finding strength in their ability to adapt and respond, rather than in the situation itself. But what exactly happens during this initial shock? There's often a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, sadness, anger, and perhaps even a mix of relief tinged with guilt. These feelings are normal and expected. Imagine you're a character in a book, and suddenly, the author switches genres on you without warning. You'd be confused, right? That's the essence of the initial shock, disorientation in its rawest form. During this phase, it's crucial to avoid making any hasty decisions or drastic changes until the emotional dust settles. It's like being caught in a dense fog. The best approach is to stay still, breathe, and wait for clarity to return. Now let's talk about how to manage this shock in a Stoic manner. The first step is to practice staying grounded. This means resisting the urge to react impulsively, and instead allowing yourself time to process the emotions that arise. By doing so, you give yourself the space to respond thoughtfully, rather than being swept away by the turmoil. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. Rather, it's about recognizing the reality of the situation without layering it with unnecessary emotion or desperation. Just as a tree bends with the wind to avoid breaking, embracing flexibility and resilience in both thought and action can help soften the impact of the shock. Next comes the power of reflection, a time for deep, sometimes challenging introspection. It's about asking yourself the tough question. What role did I play in this situation? What can I learn from this? This isn't about assigning blame, but rather about growing and learning from the experience. Imagine working on a puzzle, only to realize that the pieces you were trying to fit together no longer match. It's frustrating, but it also opens up the opportunity to find new pieces that may create a more fulfilling picture. Now let's wrap it up with a bit of motivation. If you're the one left behind after someone has walked away, remember that this isn't the end of your story. It's It's just a plot twist. Your worth isn't defined by someone else's inability to recognize it. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, use this shock as the spark that ignites your transformation into someone stronger and more independent. Drop a comment below and share if you've ever experienced this kind of shock. How did you move forward? Did you discover a strength within yourself that you didn't know existed? Let's come together and build a community where we support each other in our journeys of growth and resilience. Our shared experiences have the power to unite us and elevate our understanding. In our next discussion, we'll dive deeper into how the initial shock of walking away gradually transforms into a period of reflection, leading to a profound self-discovery. Stay with me as we continue to unravel the significant effects of choosing to walk away, guided by the wisdom of the Stoic. Now that we've begun to explore the initial shock that accompanies this decision, I hope you're starting to recognize the powerful changes it can bring, not just in the lives of those we leave behind, but also in our own journeys. If you're finding value in our exploration today, please take a moment to hit that like button. It helps more than you might realize, and lets me know that you appreciate our deep dive into these complex emotional landscapes. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel. We regularly tackle these challenging topics, using Stoic wisdom as our guide. I invite you to stay with me as we delve even further. There's so much more to uncover about the transformative power of walking away, and I promise the insights we'll discover together will be well worth your time. This journey isn't just about a single moment of change, but about a continuous process of growth and understanding. Revelations can profoundly reshape how you view relationships and personal growth. I invite you to stay with me as we delve even further. There's so much more to uncover about the transformative power of walking away, and I promise the insights we'll discover together will be well worth your time. This journey isn't just about a single moment of change, but about a continuous process of growth and understanding. Revelations can profoundly reshape how you view relationships and personal growth. Let's move on to our second point: self-reflection triggered by loss. After the initial shock subsides, the next natural phase for the person left behind is a deep, often intense period of introspection. This is where the real inner work begins, and it can feel like they've become detectives in the mystery of their own life. Picture this. You've just lost a piece of a puzzle you were carefully assembling. First, you might frantically search for it, but eventually, you pause and start reflecting on why that piece was so important. Could the picture still be completed in a different way? This is what self-reflection looks like after a significant loss, questioning the reasons and significance of the missing pieces. During this time, the person may revisit memories, trying to identify moments of joy, conflict, and disconnection. It's like rewatching a movie they thought they understood, but now they're searching for hidden meanings in every scene. They might ask themselves, was I truly happy? What did I sacrifice? What can I do differently next time? This process of self-reflection is not just about understanding what happened, but also about learning and growing from the experience, allowing them to approach future relationships with a deeper sense of self-awareness and purpose. Introspection is crucial because it allows individuals to better understand their personal values and needs, something they might not have fully grasped when they were part of a pair. Seneca's wisdom here is valuable. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. Self-reflection prompted by loss transforms this quote into a daily practice, focusing on learning from past experiences to create a better future. This learning process isn't always easy. It's like discovering you've been wearing shoes that were too tight. There's a sense of relief when you realize you no longer have to endure the discomfort. Adding a touch of humor can ease the intensity of this self-reflection. It's similar to looking at old photos of yourself in questionable fashion choices and thinking, what was I thinking? Laughing at our past mistakes can make the lessons they offer a bit more digestible. This phase is essential for emotional growth. It's like dusting off the forgotten corners of self-awareness that may have been neglected for years. As individuals sift through their emotional clutter, they begin to clear space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. It's akin to cleaning out a cluttered garage. Overwhelming at first, but incredibly rewarding once you've made room for new possibilities. This process helps them approach future relationships with a clearer understanding of what truly matters. During this phase of self-reflection, it's important not to overlook the power of writing. Encouraging those who are introspecting to jot down their thoughts can be incredibly helpful. It's like providing them with a chalkboard where they can scribble, erase, and rewrite as their understanding evolves. I invite you to share your experiences in the comments below. Have you ever gone through a period of deep self-reflection after a loss? What did you discover about yourself? Your stories not only help in healing, but also serve to inspire and teach others. As we conclude our discussion on self-reflection following a loss, remember that each moment of reflection, realization, and reassessment brings you closer to becoming the person you are meant to be. It's not just about moving on, it's about moving forward with a clearer understanding of your own needs and desires. Next, we'll explore how this newfound self-awareness influences personal growth and independence. Stay with me as we delve into the transformative effects of walking away. Now let's dive into our third point, realization of value. This is a crucial turning point for the person you've left behind as they begin to truly understand what you contributed. Often, this realization only occurs when you're no longer present. Imagine losing your favorite watch. It was always on your wrist, so much so that you almost forgot it was there until it was gone. Suddenly, whenever you need to check the time, its absence is acutely felt. The absence of that watch becomes strikingly apparent, making its value clear as day. This is similar to what happens in relationships when someone leaves. The everyday interactions that were once taken for granted are now missed, and the full impact of their absence becomes evident. This realization can come in waves. At first, there might be a sense of relief or defiance. I don't need them anyway attitude. But as time passes, the contributions and qualities of the person who left become increasingly noticeable. It's like watching a movie where a beloved scene is suddenly missing, one you never fully acknowledged until it was gone. You start to recognize the stability, support, or joy that person brought into your life. A fitting Stoic quote from Epictetus comes to mind. He is a wise man who does not grieve for what he does not have, but rejoices for what he does have. This perspective helps shift the focus from what's lost to what was gained, encouraging those left behind to appreciate and be grateful for the shared experiences, rather than solely mourning the absence. This phase of realization leads to a reassessment of what truly matters. It's an opportunity for the person left behind to reflect on the importance of valuing and cherishing the people in their lives before they walk away. To add a touch of humor, imagine suddenly realizing you've been eating plain toast all this time, and now you're missing out on all the toppings you didn't know you missed. Imagine someone introduced you to the joy of jam, and suddenly, every piece of toast reminds you of its absence when they take it away. As they process this newfound appreciation, the goal is for them to use this awareness to improve future relationships. This experience teaches not only the importance of valuing what you have while you have it, but also that the significance of people and relationships should never be underestimated. To wrap things up with a motivational note, you've experienced such a realization, let it be a catalyst for personal growth. Use the pain of loss to fuel a deeper appreciation and more proactive engagement in your relationships. Cherish those around you, express gratitude openly, and seize every opportunity to show love and respect. I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever recognized someone's value only after they were gone? How did that insight affect your current relationships? In our next discussion, we'll explore how this realization can lead to emotional growth and increased empathy, further enriching your life and connection. Stick with me as we continue to delve into these transformative experiences together. Let's explore our fourth point, emotional maturation. This is the phase where the person you've left behind begins to transform the initial shock and confusion into a path of emotional growth and maturity. Picture emotional growth as leveling up in a video game. Initially, it's uncharted territory with sudden obstacles, But as you advance, you acquire new skills and insights that help you navigate more effectively. This is what emotional maturation looks like after a separation. It involves turning the raw and often turbulent emotions into something more refined and enduring. During this period, there are usually several key realizations. Most significant might be the understanding that not only can they cope without you, but they can also thrive on their own. It's akin to someone who's been pedaling a tandem bike alone, finally switching to a solo bike. It's intimidating at first, but ultimately freeing. A relevant Stoic quote from Seneca captures this well. "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This perspective frames emotional maturation as a journey of appreciating and accepting what you have, rather than focusing on what you've lost. Emotional maturation means realizing that your well-being isn't dependent on someone else's presence, but comes from a deep well of inner resilience and self-satisfaction. So, how do you cultivate this emotional maturity? It begins with self-reflection, looking inward to understand your emotional triggers and learning to manage them instead of letting them control you. Imagine you're the captain of a ship navigating through a storm. Emotional maturation is about learning to steer through turbulent waters without capsizing. It's about recognizing when you're simply reacting to the waves rather than guiding your way through them. This stage also requires adopting a broader perspective. It involves understanding that every relationship, including the one that ended, plays a role in your personal growth. Each interaction teaches something valuable, even if its significance isn't clear right away. It's like assembling a mosaic. Every piece of experience contributes to the larger picture of who you're becoming. Emotionally mature individuals start to look past the immediate pain of separation. They come to appreciate the calm that follows the storm, finding peace in solitude, and using the quiet to practice self-care and self-compassion, rather than letting resentment take over. Let's finish with a motivational note. If you're in the midst of emotional maturation or know someone who is, remember this. The journey is just as valuable as the destination. The growth you experience from working through your emotions is a powerful testament to your strength and resilience. Share your experiences with emotional maturation in the comments below. How have you turned challenges into opportunities? Both. Your stories are not only inspiring but also serve as a guiding light for others navigating their own emotional journeys. Next, we'll delve into how this newfound emotional maturity affects relationships and personal growth. Stick with me as we continue to explore and support each other, these transformative experiences. Now, let's talk about our fifth point, growth through adversity. When we consider the impact of walking away on the person left behind, it's important to recognize how such a challenging experience can lead to significant personal growth. Imagine yourself as a young sapling, initially sheltered under the canopy of a larger tree. One day, that tree is removed, and you are left to grow on your own. Imagine a tree suddenly uprooted. At first, it seems devastating. Exposed to harsh elements, you might feel incredibly vulnerable. But then something surprising occurs. With more space to reach for the sunlight, you start to grow in ways you never could have if the larger tree had stayed. This is the essence of adversity, an unexpected chance to flourish that emerges only when the comfort of the old is removed. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, captured this perfect. Fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men. When someone walks away, view it as a test by fire. Initially, it leaves you raw and exposed. But just as gold is purified by flames, so too can your spirit be strengthened and refined through the trials of loss and change. Reflect on the last time you encountered a setback. Perhaps someone left you, creating a void. It's easy to dwell in the shadows of abandonment, but real growth comes from stepping into the light of self-reliance. Did you uncover a new passion or realize you were more resilient than you thought? Often, it's during these challenging times that we find our truest selves. The journey through adversity isn't about denying the pain, but about embracing the growth that comes from it. Instead of viewing adversity as merely a challenge, think of it as a chapter in your story. Just like a comedian who transforms their struggles into a hilarious stand-up routine, you too can find ways to bring humor into your situation. Humor can be a powerful remedy for the wounds of loneliness and can change how you narrate your experience, not just to others but to yourself as well. So how can we turn adversity into growth? Start by recognizing the value in every experience. Each difficulty carries a lesson, similar to how every intense workout at the gym builds muscle, even if it feels grueling at the time. You might not notice the results immediately, but over time, you'll see a stronger, more capable version of yourself in the mirror. And don't overlook the importance of reflection. Once the initial shock and pain have eased, take some time to consider what this adversity has taught you. What new skills have you acquired? How have your priorities shifted? What do you now appreciate more? Reflection helps transform challenges into valuable insights and growth. To summarize, if you found yourself left behind, understand that your journey is now one of personal growth. Path may be challenging, lonely, or even frightening at times, but it's yours to traverse, filled with opportunities to evolve into your best self. I'd love to hear about your experiences with growth through adversity. Drop a comment below and share your story. How did you turn a painful ending into a fresh start? Your experiences can serve as guiding lights for others navigating their own challenges. In our next discussion, we'll explore how overcoming hardships not only strengthens our independence, but also deepens our connections with those who remain by our side. Stick with me as we continue to learn, grow, and face life's trials together. Increased empathy. Now let's move on to our sixth point, increased empathy. It's remarkable how walking away can unexpectedly enhance your ability to empathize with others, fostering deeper connections. Imagine this: you've stepped away from someone who perhaps never fully valued the symphony of effort you were putting into the relationship. When you leave a relationship, the silence left behind can make the remaining person more attuned to their own emotions and those of others. It's like turning off a loud stereo and suddenly becoming aware of the soft patter of rain, something they hadn't noticed before. This absence can act as a catalyst for emotional insight, enabling them to tune into the emotional spectrum they hadn't previously understood. The process of walking away can be like holding up a mirror that reflects not only the loss, but also new opportunities for emotional growth. Experiencing separation helps one to recognize and relate to the pain of others, fostering empathy. It's akin to learning a new language, the language of emotional suffering, and discovering you can now communicate with a broader spectrum of people. Stoic wisdom, particularly from Marcus Aurelius, offers insight into this transformation. He notes, "What injures the hive injures the bee," reminding us that we are all interconnected. By stepping away and allowing for this emotional recalibration, you inadvertently teach the person left behind about this interconnectedness. As you reflect on your own journey with empathy, think about how experiencing loss has deepened your compassion. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How has walking away enhanced your ability to empathize with others? So let's delve into our seventh point, enhancing independence. When someone leaves, it often opens the door to a newfound sense of self-reliance that may have previously seemed out of reach or unnecessary. Picture yourself suddenly alone in the wilderness with just a compass. At first, it feels overwhelming, but as you forge your way through the landscape, you not only learn to survive, but to thrive independently. This is akin to what happens when you're left behind. You become the sole navigator of your own path, a task that can be both intimidating and exhilarating. As Seneca wisely observed, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. This Stoic insight serves as a guiding light for those facing the challenge of strengthening their independence. Reflect on your own journey. How has the experience of being left behind fostered your personal growth and self-sufficiency? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your stories of navigating newfound independence can inspire and guide others who are on a similar path. Next, we'll examine how this growing sense of independence can deepen our connections with those who remain in our lives. Stick with me as we continue to explore and support each other through these transformative experiences. Their feet planted firmly in a suddenly solitary world. The departure of someone close is an opportunity to view difficulty as a catalyst for growth. rather than an obstacle. As you begin to handle things independently, from the everyday tasks like fixing a leaky faucet to the more intricate ones like mapping out your future, you build resilience and self-assurance. Every small achievement demonstrates that not only can you manage on your own, but you can also thrive. To put it humorously, you've become the captain of your ship. While the waters might be uncharted, you're no longer just drifting around an island, you're setting sail towards new horizons, occasionally battling the sea monsters of doubt and solitude. But what's an adventure without a bit of excitement? I encourage you to share your experiences in the comments. What independence milestones have you reached that once seemed impossible? Your stories are not just motivating, they reveal how the toughest challenges can lead to the most significant growth. As we wrap up, remember that each step you take on your own path is not just a move towards independence, but also towards empowerment. The journey may begin with uncertainty, but it paves the way for profound self-discovery and strength. All right, let's delve into our 8th point. Realigning priorities. After navigating through the initial upheaval and emotional storm, a profound shift begins to take place. The person you left behind starts to reassess their life with a renewed perspective, reevaluating what truly matters to them. It's akin to discovering that the map you've been following has suddenly lost some roads, forcing you to chart a new route. Picture waking up and realizing you've been on autopilot, filling your days with routines and commitments that no longer align with your true desires. It's like habitually having cereal for breakfast when what you really crave is a stack of pancakes with all the fixings. It's both amusing and eye-opening. This phase is about decluttering your life. As the philosopher Seneca wisely noted, it is not the man who has too little, the man who craves more, who is poor. This Stoic insight highlights the importance of prioritizing what genuinely enriches your life, rather than being driven by mere habit or external expectations. When it comes to enriching your life, it's not about just adding more activities, responsibilities, or stress. For the person left behind, this might involve cutting back on social commitments that are more exhausting than fulfilling, or reassessing career goals that no longer resonate with their core values. It's about zeroing in on what genuinely matters and mustering the courage to prioritize those aspects. It's not merely about having less, but about focusing on what truly enhances your life. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever had a moment of clarity that led you to reevaluate your priorities? How did it shift your daily approach? As we continue, remember that realigning your priorities isn't about losing focus, but refining it. It's about ensuring that your life is filled with activities and relationships that truly matter. Let's keep this perspective in mind as we move forward, making sure each step we take aligns with our deepest values and aspirations. Keep striving, friends. The best version of yourself is within reach. Renewed sense of purpose. All right, let's explore our 9th point, a renewed sense of purpose. After the initial shock of being left behind subsides, profound transformation often occurs, leading to a powerful realization. Picture this. Let's dive into our 9th point, renewed sense of purpose. Imagine you've been playing a role you thought was uniquely meant for you, only to have the script abruptly changed. It's as if you were a minor character in someone else's story, and now you've been cast in the lead role of your own narrative. Initially, it might feel overwhelming, but soon it becomes liberating. This new phase often starts with profound introspection, akin to renovating a long-lived-in house. You begin rearranging your life, discarding the old, and suddenly discover a renewed space that better reflects who you truly are. This process of finding a new sense of purpose is about realigning your life's priorities to fit the person you've evolved into, rather than the person you were in the past relationship. As Aristotle wisely noted, it's not what we have that makes us great, but how we use it. Similarly, it's not just the relationships we've had, but how we grow from them that truly defines us. The end of a dependency can mark the beginning of a journey of self-discovery, where you uncover what genuinely motivates and fulfills you. Renewed sense of purpose. As you start to embrace this new sense of purpose, it's akin to transforming barren land into a thriving garden. Each choice and action you take plants a seed, cultivating a future shaped by your personal desires and goals. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever experienced a renewed sense of purpose following a significant change or loss? What was that journey like for you? How did it alter your approach to life? Sharing these experiences is more than just recounting survival stories. It's about celebrating how we thrive and evolve. They remind us that every ending creates space for fresh, exciting beginnings. Let's continue moving forward, not just to recover, but to explore new paths, brimming with passion and purpose. Embrace your new roles with confidence and let your unique light shine brightly. Closure and new beginnings. Now, let's turn to our 10th and final point. Closure and new beginnings. This stage marks the point where you finally reconcile with the end of one chapter and step confidently into a new, hopeful. Imagine watching a lengthy series and feeling it must come to an end, but you're not quite ready. Then, the finale wraps everything up perfectly, allowing you to say goodbye and eagerly anticipate what comes next. This is the essence of closure, a resolution that ties up loose ends and prepares you for new adventures. As Seneca wisely stated, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. This insight underscores the importance of closing one chapter to fully embrace the opportunities of the next. Closure and new beginning. The end of your presence in someone's life isn't merely a conclusion. It's a pivotal moment that clears the way for new growth. Imagine it as removing old weeds from a garden to make room for fresh flowers. The person left behind starts to appreciate their own company, uncover new strengths, and perhaps discover passions that were previously overshadowed. To lighten the mood, think of closure as finally parting with that old broken fridge that's been cluttering up your kitchen. It's a bit bittersweet, but now there's ample space for a sleek new model. As we conclude, remember that closure is not just about endings. It's about setting the stage for new beginning. It's about standing on the threshold of a new chapter, enriched by the lessons learned from the past. Drop a comment below if you found closure in your own experiences. How did you step into your new beginning? Your stories and insights not only help others feel less isolated, but also inspire them to pursue their own closures and fresh starts. Thank you for joining me through this series. Remember, every ending marks the start of a new adventure. Let's continue moving forward, embracing each new chapter with courage and optimism. Here's to new beginnings and the wonderful surprises they bring. If you're ready to embark on your own journey of closure and new beginnings, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom on navigating life's transitions. Share your experiences in the comments below. Together, we grow stronger as a community by sharing our journeys. Here's to transforming endings into exciting new starts.